Welcome to The Detox, Lyman Health Podcast. And now, the man that simplifies the complex, your host, Dr. Jay Davidson.
Hi, this is Dr. Jay Davidson, and I'm with a good friend of mine and a colleague and part of our Dr. Jay Davidson team of practitioners, Dr. Nick Ellenson. Dr. Nick Ellenson earned his undergraduate degree at Concordia College of Moorhead, Minnesota. He received his doctorate of chiropractic from Northwestern Health Sciences University in Minnesota. Dr. Nick is married to his wife, Loretta, has two amazing daughters, Rena and Amelia, two cuties. His journey in functional medicine began after helping a family member overcome massive digestive issues. He also painfully watched my wife, Heather, struggle with and overcome Lyme disease. And his grandfather struggled with colorectal cancer for many years, which took his life. After this, he found his purpose in learning more about how to get to the root cause of health issues and help people live healthy, amazing lives. Dr. Nick has a huge passion for nutrition, digestion, and the overall gut. If you've ever seen his kitchen, it definitely looks sometimes like a chemistry lab with his different fermentation type products. I'll say that from personal experience, seeing that many times. He specializes in helping clients find nutrition plans that work for them. He's also an expert in intermittent fasting and has been fermenting his own foods, like I mentioned, at home for many years. In his free time, Dr. Nick loves to stay active, running marathons. He's even done ultra marathons. We did CrossFit together for about a year and a half, which was a blast. He's just a beast doing that. I like to call Dr. Nick the wise owl. He's very observant in every situation, an amazing listener, able to recognize all the issues and actions that really deserve consideration and watchful for details. So Dr. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Dr. J.
Well, I always love talking with you. You're like a brother. We're like family. We used to live together back in chiropractic school. I mean, our paths just continually crossed, and now, we work together as we have in the past as well, too. One of the things that I wanted to pick your brain on was the Oura Ring that you got. And Oura Ring is in the biohacking category. So maybe we can start there for our listeners today.
Yeah, so this would be my Oura Ring to give you a little bit better look. So it's they've been around, the company's been around for a few years now. This is actually their second generation, their second model, and it's definitely a lot smaller and more compact. It doesn't look big and bulky. I thought their first one definitely looked big and bulky. This one looks like a regular ring. So now it's taken over as my wedding ring. But I'm always, of course, we're always experimenting with different things and trying different supplements out, and just always trying to help not only improve our own health, but also that's going to translate into the clients that we work with, and just be always working to help with helping them get better, amazing results. So that's why I was curious to experiment with the Oura Ring. And probably one of the biggest things I found helpful with it is sleep tracking. When it comes to the different wearables, there's watches, there's the heart rate strap, monitor straps. There's a lot of different options out there. This one's definitely the smallest. And the other thing that I really liked about this is that you can put it into airplane mode, meaning that you're not getting bombarded with EMFs all day. And even if you do have it on, I mean, it is going to be relatively minor just because it is a very small, it's not a huge, big, bulky watch like some of them out there. So backing the train up just for the listener, this would be in the category where you can wear something to essentially try to get metrics on yourself or try to collect data, correct? Correct, yes. Yeah, so it's collecting everything from sleep. It tracks your activity. It gives you a lot of good info in terms of how ready you are. They give you a readiness score. So if it's a high readiness day, that's a day that it would be a good day to get out and be more active, do a little bit harder workout. Because one of the things that I like about it too is that it tracks the heart rate variability. So essentially how looks at how recovered the body is. So it's looking at for that balance of the sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system. So when we're recovered, the body is going to be more in that parasympathetic state. So you're going to have a higher HRV. And so on the day where you're waking up, your HRV is high. That would be a great day to push it a little bit more workout wise. So with training for runs in the past, marathons, ultra marathons, this is something I wish I would have had, because I would have been able to tailor my workouts a lot better, to whether it's a day that I push it or a day that I take it a little bit easier. So I'm just not constantly pushing and triggering my body to crash or get sick or something like that. So it's definitely given me a lot of info, just workout wise on, and whether it's just a day that I take it easier or push it a little bit more.
So you casually mentioned ultra marathon. How many ultra marathons have you done, and how far are those?
I've done, I think, 5 ultra marathons now. I've done 2 50 milers, and then I have done 3 50Ks, which are 31 miles.
That's crazy. And for the listener that's listening on the podcast player and just listening to the iTunes and can't see Dr. Nick, he's like a running back. Didn't you play running back and linebacker in football in high school?
Running back and corner, actually. Yeah.
Corner. Okay. So not the dangly type long distance runner that you would typically associate with, which I give you props for, because that's, you have an ability to adapt. So Oura Ring, for the listener, it's spelled O-U-R-A, all caps, and the O's got some weird, marking on top. But Oura Ring,
Finnish company, so I think in the Finnish language, that's part of their language. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So I've always been interested in this. I'm a gadget guy. You probably fall into the same thing. My wife would be the polar opposite, so there's a good balance, right? Like, "Hun, let's get this," and she's like, "Jay, are you honestly really going to use that?" And I'm like, well, then I process it and I think about it, and I'm like, well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. I think you're right. So it's a good, it's a good harmony to really make me, process. Yeah. Instead of just buying everything, because just with our own journey, we've bought so many things which you know about. You were, my wife. She, I don't know if Dr. Nick wants me to say this, but she needed we did fecal transplants. This was before the FDA outlawed it, and I was a donor. And then it was like, okay, I think we need to find somebody else. And the next person went down the line, and the only other person was Dr. Nick. So he was grateful enough to donate some poop for my wife when she was near death to do a fecal transplant. And I'll tell you, amazing stuff. But again, it's all regulated now by the FDA, so you have to check that out. But so in this category, this is about getting metrics. People would classify this in the biohacking category, the Ben Greenfield, the Dave Aspreys of the world, and these other people that just like to get metrics and data. What else fits into this? The Apple Watch is one of those, probably.
Yeah, there's the wearables have definitely boomed, but yeah, the Apple Watch. There's Garmin. There's Polar is another brand. So there's tons of different options out there. Fitbit, yep.
Fitbit. And the concern I have always had is EMFs, or electromagnetic fields, or electromagnetic radiation, EMRs. So talk to us about, why is this the first one that you've owned as far as wearables?
I've had some more just activity tracking watches, more for, I would just pretty much wear it while I was running that way. And I've used my iPhone for that same purpose too, more for the just tracking distance and heart rate, and other things like that. But this is the first one, like full on, like activity tracker type gadget that I wear all the time and it's constantly monitoring and tracking. So part of the reason why I haven't kind of pulled the trigger on like an Apple Watch or Fitbit, because I've definitely looked into them, because both you and I are Apple guys. So the Apple Watch was definitely very tempting, especially now some of the newer models actually have the GPS in there, so I could use it for tracking distance running. And that's one thing that this doesn't do like super well for if you're going to track like going out for a long run and keeping track of your pace and your time and all of that. This will monitor that, but it's not going to give you that real time data to let you know where you're at and how long and how far and all of those things. So that is one, I guess, limitation where I still may need to use my Garmin watch to track that. But that's probably the only thing that I've noticed that it's lacking. It still tracks your like steps, so it keeps track of your activity. So I know a lot of people like their Fitbits for making sure they're getting their steps in. This will do the same thing. It's just not more specific for like running or biking and tracking all that info.
Okay.
But the sleep has definitely been the biggest thing I found to be very valuable. So a couple of things that tracks as far as sleep is it tracks your amount of sleep. So the total amount of sleep, but then the actual like amount that you're sleeping, or the amount that you're laying down and then the amount that you're actually sleeping. The other thing that I found helpful is that it tracks your REM sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep. And that's typically referred to as when your brain is recovering and regenerating. And then the other thing is the deep sleep. And so deep sleep, that's more the rejuvenating, restorative, your muscle repair. There've been studies done that's when like growth hormone and testosterone, those are released into the body for healing and recovery. So keeping track on those is really important, because if something that will fluctuate or vary depending on somebody's activity and somebody's age, but you want to be shooting for a certain amount of that on a given day. So like for REM sleep, you want anywhere from 20 to 25% of your sleep to be the REM sleep, which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then with the deep sleep, you want that to be roughly about the same. So 1.5 hours of sleep. So that's about 15 to 20% of your sleep. So I've been playing around with different things, supplements and just food timing even, to see what really affects those things. And I've noticed that talking about meal timing, when it comes to sleep, having your meals earlier is going to be better for your sleep. So like an ideal pattern would be like you would eat your dinner or supper at 5, going to bed at like say 9, so that your body's got proper time to digest. So when you go to sleep or have a later meal and go to sleep, it's still that digesting, and it's definitely going to have a big impact or effect on your sleep. So sleep timing is definitely noticed that myself when I do have a later meal or close to bedtime, I definitely do not sleep as well. It definitely has an impact on the REM sleep and the deep sleep.
And what time are you talking about? Do you usually go to bed, and what time would that meal look like where it disrupts it?
Yeah, so say I ate at like 8 o'clock and then went to bed at 10 o'clock. So maybe like a 2.5 2 hour gap between eating and going to bed. Definitely notice that, even if it's a larger meal. So say even if I eat at 6 7 o'clock, but it's a large meal, sometimes I'll notice that will affect my sleep, maybe not sleep as well.
Okay. So you're using the Oura Ring to look at the things you do in your lifestyle, and then looking at the data the Oura Ring kicks out to help pick what's best for you, in other words?
Yeah. And that's the cool thing with this too is when first got it, it was just kind of giving some general information, general recommendations, but as it's tracking your data and understanding your patterns and how you do everything, it starts to give you some more specific thing. So it gives you a specific bedtime that works best for your typical routine. And then it just gets more and more specific in terms of REM and deep sleep and all those different markers as it's understanding you better, basically. So it gets more accurate.
So it tracks heart rate variability. You mentioned respiratory rate, body temperature, resting heart rate, and then it's essentially creating how do you recover. It's also tracking your sleep, the different stages, sleep trends. It seems like it's tracking a lot for just being a ring that goes onto your finger.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And the cool thing is when you have it in airplane mode, you can keep it in there and it will keep on essentially storing data until you put it on the dock. You have to put it on the dock, and it's just one of the things I at first didn't really like, because I wanted to be able to put it in airplane mode, but then take it off airplane mode so I can see where I was at during the day. But in order to do that, take it out of airplane mode, you have to put it on the docking station, which is also what charges it. So put it on the docking station, you open the app, and then it finally kicks it out of airplane mode, and then it downloads the data that it's been storing. But it'll store data like up to 6 weeks of data. And when you have the ring in airplane mode, the battery life, it's a long battery life, it'll stay good for 6 to 7 days. Wow. It's not something that you have to be constantly charging like some of the bigger watches too, where they're just using a lot more power to run everything.
So that's a concern with all these devices, is the electromagnetic radiation, or the fields that it kicks out. As the Apple Watch, the Fitbits, everything's Bluetooth and connect to your Wi-Fi, and then now there's Apple Watches where they're basically they have cellular signal right on your wrist, touching you,
doing phone calls.
Yeah, and that's always been a big concern because Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, these electromagnetic fields and this radiation, it makes good bugs go bad. It makes the commensal bugs, which are kind of the in-between, not good, not pathogenic, and it makes them go rogue. It makes them turn into pathogens. Heavy metal toxicity within your body, the EMF, the EMR will actually be amplified. So the more toxic you are, the more that it actually plays a role against you. So, how practical is the Oura Ring, I guess, using an airplane mode? Do most people, I would assume most people probably use this, just they leave it off of airplane mode, like it's always transmitting majority of time?
I guess how I personally use it, I keep it in airplane mode just about all the time, unless I'm curious to see where I'm at. I like to put it on the docking station in the mornings, and then I'll check out my previous day's activity, and I'll also check out what the sleep data was for my night's sleep, and then also check out the readiness score. So readiness score, again, is just taking a look at all the different sleep metrics. It's looking at the previous day's activity, heart rate variability, all those different things, and then it's giving you a number. So basically it's 1 to 100. So the higher the readiness score, the more you're recovered, and again, like activity wise, you can be doing a harder workout.
Do you notice with the readiness score, like if it's 90, like you do feel amazing that day, and if it's 30, you're like, yeah, it's a rough day? Do you notice the change of number?
Definitely notice a difference on the just the overall, how my body feels, how the brain feels. On a higher readiness day, definitely feel sharper, ready to go. But when the readiness score is lower, usually it seems probably the biggest thing that I've noticed is that it's a night that I maybe didn't get enough sleep, or just the sleep quality was not as good as normal.
Has there been anything you've done where you've noticed, okay, when I do this, my sleep has improved drastically, it feels so much better?
Yeah, so it talks about the meal timing. Meal timing has definitely been one thing I've noticed. So again, when I eat later, closer to bedtime, I definitely don't sleep as well. A couple other things that I've experimented with, taking melatonin, liposomal melatonin, that definitely correlates to higher REM sleep and deep sleep. And one of the important things, or things that I like about melatonin, is that it does help to improve deep sleep. So it helps to stimulate that brain drainage, that lymphatic system to drain with deep sleep, which is one of the big important things of getting enough deep sleep. But also probably the biggest thing that I've noticed a difference with, having a positive impact on sleep or some of the sleep metrics, is using the amber colored glasses. That I've experimented a couple of times where, as it's getting dark out, I'll put those on, and that's definitely translated to some of the highest numbers in terms of REM sleep, deep sleep, just overall better quality sleep.
So the amber glasses, also called like blue blocker glasses.
Yep. So it's blocking blue light, and it's going to help with stimulating melatonin and down-regulating cortisol. So essentially just getting the body ready to fall asleep.
So the liposomal melatonin, is there a brand that you like to use and recommend your clients?
Yeah, Quicksilver brand is the one that I've noticed to be the most effective. Liposomal, you just get a lot better absorption, and just I've noticed a lot better results with that versus some of the other more tablets or capsules of melatonin. Liposomal, I found that to be the best form of it.
And with the liposomal melatonin, so you're not taking it because you have problems falling asleep, but you're actually taking it and you're finding that then you're getting better quality, deeper sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's a cool thing with melatonin is, again, it helps to stimulate that deeper sleep. So stimulating the deep sleep. And when you do that, you're in that deeper sleep. That's when your body or your brain detoxes, it drains. And it's with that detoxing, obviously, the big thing that you hear about the brain is dementia, Alzheimer's. They've actually done studies is that when you're in that deeper sleep, is that's when the body or the brain's able to clear those amyloid plaques that get formed when people who have Alzheimer's.
So going back to the Oura Ring, going back to the gadget, because I'm always curious. That's why I wanted to do a podcast interview, just to talk about this. How long have you had the Oura Ring right now?
It's coming up to about a month now.
Okay.
So we pre-ordered the ring back in May, and then it probably took about 3 months for us to get it. And then I don't know if that works out math-wise, but I've had it for about a month, whatever it is.
Okay.
And yeah.
It looks like they're $300 to $400. So I mean, not a drop in the bucket by any means.
Yeah, not exactly the cheapest thing, which is part of the reason why we did the pre-order, because at the time they had I think it was $100 off.
Okay.
And so that was a big motivating factor for my wife and I to get the Oura Rings. She's a little jealous because I got mine and she hasn't gotten hers yet, even though we ordered them at the same time.
Well, I mean, they do look like wedding rings. So I mean, if you're going through that, I mean, well, that's actually seems like a pretty cheap wedding ring then, especially for the female side, if you're down for that. But so go back to in no way we're not associated with the Oura Ring. I literally just out of curiosity, I'm like, Dr. Nick, let's do a podcast interview. I want to get what your experience has been so far with this Oura Ring, because this is version 2, correct?
Version 2, yep.
Okay. So when you put it on the docking station, is that connecting to your computer or your phone when you're reading the data in like information?
It's connecting to my phone. So they have a Oura Ring app. And then as soon as you take it out of airplane mode, then it starts syncing with the ring, or have the app open and the or you don't necessarily always have to have it on the docking station. So if you don't have it in airplane mode, and open up the app so you can check real time where things are at during the day. It's just then of course you're going to be getting some EMF exposure.
Yeah. Is it connecting through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth. Okay. And that this has always been my thing of why I haven't bought any of these devices yet, because everything transmits wireless, but I like the fact that you can put in airplane mode. Is it, so when you put it, how do you flip it into airplane mode? Because it looks like a ring and it looks like it's got like 3 bumps on the inside of it. Is there any switches on it?
No switches on the Ring. It's all in the app. So in the app, there's a top right corner, there's a button, and you click on that, and there's an option to put it into airplane mode, and that's how you do it.
Okay.
So one thing I've noticed too is that have to be mindful of your phone. If you're, in order to, of course, read at Bluetooth, you have to have a Bluetooth component on your phone. So just making sure that turning that off after you've read the data from the Ring, and you don't want to be exposed for that. So that's always been one thing I've noticed. I've caught myself where I've forgot to shut that off. So definitely more mindful of that now.
Yeah. The things that get me is when the phone doesn't update, like a new operating system. I have Apple like you do as well. And then it automatically turns Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on, even though they were off when it updates. Same thing with operating systems. I've got a Windows laptop, which I'm not a big Windows fan, but I have some software on there and it crashed. So I bought a new one. That came, and then of course, shut the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth off, even put in airplane mode, and then just hardwire the computer to connect to the internet. Well, I had a new Windows 10 updated automatically, then turned everything on again. So a good reminder, anytime there's updates, just always check, hey, is my Wi-Fi, is my Bluetooth on? Because again, electromagnetic radiation not only makes good bugs go bad within your body, but also in your environment. So if you had water infiltration in your house and you have mold and you run Wi-Fi, you're basically making that situation worse. That the mycotoxins, which is the toxin the mold actually produces, increases 600 times. It's a massive increase just based on your environment. So it's not just your body that's affected by the electromagnetic radiation with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, but it's also mold. And then of course, if you have heavy metal toxicity, it's basically like acting like an antenna. So if you do go down the route of getting these, I don't even know, biometric tracking devices, is that the correct category term?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think the big category is a lot of times they've heard it as the wearables.
Okay.
So it means that they're going to be something you wear, but then it's something that's tracking some sort of metrics.
So going back to, I want to loop back to liposomal melatonin a little bit. What's the dosing that you will do? What's the dosing that you'll recommend your clients? And then let's say my bedtime is 10 p.m. or let's just stick with 10 p.m. What time do you usually take the liposomal melatonin?
So as far as dosage, for myself personally, I'm usually around 4 or 5 milligrams of melatonin.
Okay.
So I found that to be a sweet spot with a lot of people. There are, of course, cases where they need to go a little bit higher. So maybe 5 to 10 milligrams. And then as far as timing, I feel like I feel the effects of it pretty quickly after I take it. So I would say a lot of times within 15 minutes, I'm starting to get sleepy. So,
wow.
So about 15 minutes, half hour. So maybe about 9:30, 9:45, somewhere in there. If you're going to bed at 10, that's when you'd want to take the dose of melatonin.
Okay. And I mean, wrapping up the Oura Ring side, is this something that you will recommend to clients in certain cases? Are you still on the fence? Is this something you'll steer away from so far with what you've used?
No, I would definitely recommend it. So again, just the sleep data that you get, that's definitely, with the other wearables that I've looked at, this is definitely seems to be the most complete, or the most data that you get. And I would say accuracy is definitely very high with it. So it's definitely something I'd recommend. So if somebody, is going to be curious about tracking sleep or even tracking just overall recovery for workouts or for fitness, definitely something that's going to be very valuable to that person.
Okay. And you said that on airplane mode, it can almost go a week without recharging it?
Yep. So I've tested that out a few times where I forgot my traveled over the weekend and prior to that hadn't charged it. And so it was probably getting to that 6-7 days before it actually had to recharge it. So it does last a long time.
How long does it take to charge it when you put it? Do you have to like put it on the dock to charge it?
Yep. So you have to put it on the dock. So I guess the thing, of course, I forgot it a couple of times on the dock. Just put it on there and it's charging, and then get busy and then leave the house and completely forget it. So I think I've done that once. But once you put it on there, I would say, depending on where it's at, of course, somewhere between 10 minutes to a half hour, it seems like, to charge. So it does charge pretty quick. That's
really quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Is there any other final words or thoughts that you want to share with the listeners, either on the Oura Ring or anything else rattling around up in your brain, Mr. Wise Owl here?
Yeah. So don't forget about some of the good basic things when it comes to sleep. So as we talked about, meal timing is important. The other thing is just overall consistency, having a consistent bedtime, wake up time. That's another huge beneficial thing. And then keeping tabs on the blue light exposure at night. Again, that's probably the biggest thing I've noticed personally that has an effect whether I do or I don't wear the blue blocking glasses. So investing in a good pair of blue blocking glasses, if you're going to be on computers or phones or TVs, of course, the best thing would be to shut those things off about an hour before bed. But if you're somebody who, like myself, is on the computer a lot, I'm checking emails a lot, and just on my phone a lot. So the blue blocking glasses have definitely been very beneficial. So get good sleep and do those few little tips, and it'll definitely have a big impact in terms of improving your sleep quality.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day, Dr. Nick, away from clients. I know you have a full schedule of clients, and if somebody's interested in coaching with you, they can just reach out to, we've got a thing right on our website, drjdavidson.com. You can just click apply 101 for coaching, and you'll talk with Allie, and then can start working with Dr. Nick, where you can customize your protocols and work one-on-one and get more insight from Dr. Wise Owl here. So appreciate your time, Dr. Nick, and we will talk to you soon on another podcast.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, Dr. J.
Thank you for listening. If you found this podcast valuable, feel free to share with others. The information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please seek the advice of a healthcare professional before changing your health program or embarking on a new one. To find more information and additional resources, please visit us on drjdavidson.com. That's drjdavidson.com. That's drjaydavidson.com.